Hey guys, this is professional wrestler Colt Cabana and professional podcaster Colt Cabana. You're listening to the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. This is awesome. 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 This promo is dreadful, which would make it awesome.
Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
This is Awesome Wrestling Show right here on CLESound.com. I'm Glenn Moore, joined by Steve Guy. And Steve, we have a very special guest on the podcast today.
We sure do.
She is one of the few voices from the Attitude Era, one of the voices on WWE programming that you hear, you instantly know who she is. She is the lovely Lilian Garcia. And not only is she on WWE TV on a weekly basis and for pay-per-views, she also is a very successful singer. And she'll be here in Cleveland performing at a local charity event at the Hard Rock Roxino on Thursday, June 18th. And Steve, we had a very, very long conversation with her.
It's a great conversation.
Talked about her career, how she broke into the business, her singing career, maybe some people backstage that might have a passion for singing that we might not know about or not.
Yeah.
But we had a very good conversation with her. She'll be on the show this week. We have interviews coming up in a few weeks before Absolution at AIW. We'll talk about that to end the show. We have Taylor Hendricks, who had a NXT WWE tryout this past week. Also, we have Little Guido, a WWE ECW alumni. We have Dangerous Doug Gilbert, and the very, very entertaining Nick Gage will be on the show. So we'll have those interviews for you in the next few weeks. And then AIW here in Cleveland, Absolution. Vader will be in town. I'm very pumped for that.
July 10th.
Looking forward to speaking with Vader. And we'll talk about that to end the show. But right now, we want to talk about people that we know that we've interviewed on the show getting a tryout with WWE.
Yeah.
Really quick, Johnny Gargano, a man here in Cleveland from the Cleveland area, AIW staple, a guy that has traveled the world, honing his craft, perfecting his craft, finally getting a WWE tryout at the Performance Center. And what they do, Steve, they basically call in a bunch of people. I think it was like 20 people on that list. And they run them through the stretching, all the moves they do. I think they do also with the personality, promo stuff. They basically, it's like tough enough to see who has it, who doesn't, and the people that do have it, they invite back for, I think, a second tryout. So knock on wood, hopefully Johnny Gargano is one of those because he deserves it. He's a guy that's been around here wrestling here in Cleveland, all over the world, like I said, has done it all, has wrestled maybe half the roster on NXT and WWE. He's a man that, in my mind, definitely deserves a shot.
Every independent promotion that pretty much exists out there, Johnny Gargano has been a part of and headlined a lot of them. They're main evented. And so it's like you said, long overdue. This is great, and it's awesome and it's fun, and I like the contrast of it because when we had Johnny on the show, he talked about how his match with Kevin Owens was basically the last match that Owens had before he got called to NXT, and it was the match that helped put him into NXT with William Regal there. So it's neat now to look at where Kevin Owens is showing up on Raw, battling John Cena, and now here is Johnny coming along too, and it's great. And as a guy that we've gotten to hang out with and know personally, couldn't be happier for anybody else in the business, and more proud of a guy to say, like, I know this guy, and he's an owner of Memoirs of a Wingman, by the way, now. So, that's fine.
Oh, here we go. I knew that was coming in somewhere.
But wait, you knew before we had Johnny on that, like, I was a top Johnny Gargano fan.
Oh, yeah. You know, Mark for Johnny.
I couldn't, like, when you texted me that this weekend, I couldn't be any happier. If there's one person locally or nationally you hear about that happening to, awesome guy for that to happen to.
We mentioned Taylor Hendricks might know her from TNA.
Yeah.
Also the indie rounds. She will be on the show. I think we'll play the interview next week. She was also on that list of people getting a tryout. And also, if you're from the Cleveland area, and also I think from nationally, Athena, who is very, very talented, I know she's been on the radar of NXT for a little bit. She
Yep.
also got a tryout. So if you're in the Cleveland area, you've been to AIW shows. I know we have a lot of listeners that have been to AIW. Those 3 that you've seen in AIW are getting their shot right now with WWE. So hopefully they get a call back, and we'll be seeing Johnny on NXT. And how about that? And kind of segueing in the Raw, Steve, is when NXT was here in Cleveland, the main event of that evening was Kevin Owens versus Adrian Neville. And on Raw, that was one of the feature matches this past week was Neville versus Owens with the same exact finish. Neville on the top rope. He gets distracted, wobbly. He does a hard bump almost on his head. Owens powerbomb to the powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. Same exact finish, but for the 2 matches when here in Cleveland. So that was great to see that. But other than that,
And those 2 put on a great match.
oh, great match. Neville, I don't like. The only thing I don't like about Neville is the time it takes him to hit the move. Like, it almost seems like it's a little bit too long. Like, it needs to be a little bit quicker with either him, falling or whatnot. But it was a great match between him and Owens. And Neville has had some great matches in WWE since his debut.
They need to let him start winning more, though. I feel like I don't want him to become this baby face.
No, I don't think winning
jobber
matters.
that's high flying.
Winning doesn't matter as long as you're performing in the ring. His time. He's still young. His time will come. But they are really pushing Owens to the sky here, and I'm hanging on my prediction that he's going to be WWE champion.
That's probably why they had him go against Adrian Neville.
Yeah,
because if you're in the sky, the only other person up there is going to be the man who gravity forgot. Yeah, you walked into that one. Boom! Wrestling puns, everybody.
Do you like how they are downplaying Owens' indie career, saying that this is the big league, this is WWE, when Owens has been doing it longer than John Cena?
Do I like how they're doing it?
I don't like it.
I get why they're doing it.
Okay.
If I could use a metaphor, it's the same manner in which NBA analysts are downplaying David Blatt's coaching career by calling him a rookie head coach.
I see a Mike Fratello bringing some basketball
as if they are giving Steve Kerr all sorts of credit.
Yeah.
And pretending like he's not an NBA rookie head coach, but he is, because he's never in fact coached on any level before. And David Blatt has. And that's kind of where you are with a Kevin Owens. All sorts of crazy success, been at it for a long time, and now here he is in the quote-unquote big leagues.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy proved it. I mean, the guy was bigger than some main roster WWE superstars without having to be on a WWE roster.
Yeah.
So you can downplay it to a certain extent, but the guy he's a big name. That's why you brought him in. But I get that you have to do it. It's like, they did it with Daniel Bryan too. It's just in a different way. With Daniel Bryan, it was the underdog story, and that's why they did it. With Kevin Owens, they've spun it in such that like now he can parlay that into being zealous and cocky about it.
And he's playing it off very, very well, because usually like Neville hasn't really had that much mic time. He's not really a talker anyway.
Right.
He had some mic time this past week. Sami Zayn, when he came out, obviously he's hurt. I don't think he would have gotten a lot of mic time, but they are pushing Owens as a complete package of the wrestler and the guy that can cut a promo. And he is a total package.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great for him to come out and make that kind of impact as the NXT champion. And
he's a great jerk.
Oh, it's cocky, just a guy that you want to hate.
Yeah.
But he is really, great. We talked to him. He's been on the show before. A great guy to talk to. Mm-hmm. Very, very nice. Very cordial. But get him in the ring. Anything goes with Kevin Owens. Other things going on is, who would have thought, Steve, that in 2015, that one half of the tag team, M&M, would be pinning Tyler Black clean in the main event of Raw with Kane wearing slacks with no T-shirt on and no mask at ringside. At Raw. Who would have thought that?
This is where
10
we've
years
come
ago?
now.
Yeah,
That's
10
where
years
we've
ago.
come. It's all going into the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
It was nice to finally see Noble and Mercury get in the ring,
Yeah.
and not just be a comedy tag team, and they
show what they've still
yes.
got.
I do not like how JBL says, "Oh well, Noble was a cruiserweight champion, Mercury was a 3-time WWE Tag Team Champion, but when they do a simple arm drag or a drop kick, it's like the world exploding. Oh my God, they can do these moves!
Yeah.
You just put them over as legit wrestlers,
Of course they
and
can
now
do those
you're
moves.
surprised. Like they have a impressive. They both have impressive resume. They are training
Yeah.
superstars right now.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like. Maybe they to play up the whole, Rollins being beat by 2 guys that shouldn't be in the ring. I
Right.
get that, but they still got it. They
got
still
it
do.
quite well.
Yeah.
I guess all they needed was a storyline, which they didn't have. I still don't know what storyline you would ever give them.
Yeah.
But this one works. And look, I'll take a J&J appearance from time to time as a
definitely.
tag team.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Put me on board with J&J Security, just like Shane O'Mac and the Mean Street Posse. I'm down with it.
So what happens now? I mean, I don't want to delve in too much into storylines and whatnot because we do have Lilian coming on.
Yeah.
But
Well, I have one quick question and thought.
yeah,
As we watch Seth Rollins being kind of cast aside by everyone in the Authority, it almost looked like at the end, are we going to see a Dean Ambrose heel turn?
I don't.
I had 2 thoughts to this. One was a Dean Ambrose heel turn, okay, coming up at
Yeah.
Money in the Bank. Or the other being Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, whatever happens, and then Roman Reigns, as we said, winning the Money in the Bank championship, but it all coming together as the Shield still to reunite because them just being in control. Because I still look at this as the Authority just falling apart.
I think Triple H and Stephanie will always be the authority figure, very strong authority figure on Raw.
Right.
So that being said, they do need a front superstar to kind of be their representative. If Rollins isn't in the Authority anymore, who is that man? Kane isn't that man. He's more behind the scenes now. You still have J&J Security. Is it going to be kiss and make up with Rollins if he wins? Is it going to be... I think what's going to happen, and this is probably maybe giving creative too much credit with thinking of this, is that Reigns wins Money in the Bank earlier in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Ambrose wins the title, but then Reigns cashes in and turns on Ambrose, and then he's a champion, and he is now in the authority. Because if you hear Triple H, when he's talking to Rollins,
Yeah.
talking about like a backup plan, and Triple H said, we're banking on it.
Yeah, but then we did see
So-
Kane come in, and it's like, so
But that
was
was- no,
he
that-
the backup plan?
No, but that was Monday. This was yesterday. He said it yesterday.
Yeah, but Kane came in yesterday and
No,
said
but Kane was already announced to be in it.
No, not into the Money in the Bank match. But Kane then went to Rollins and said,
Oh, I see,
"I
okay.
plan on doing this and cashing in, so the
Maybe
Authority
I'm
hangs
thinking a
on to
little
that
too much
title."
into it, but
Yeah.
I would think Reigns turns, and then
I'll tell you who their backup plan is. This guy named Kevin Owens,
Kevin Owens. That would be great too.
Triple
Would
H's
not
boy.
mind that. Yeah, would not mind that at all.
Yeah.
Really quick before we get into Lilian Garcia's interview on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, how about R-Truth coming out? That was definitely
He's
the
great.
moment of the year so far, comedy-wise.
You're not in the match.
Wait, what?
My bad.
My bad. And he just walks to the back.
My bad.
That was the best segment of Raw this year so far. R-Truth it was killing it.
Always great in the comedic spots.
Oh, definitely. Always terrific.
Afraid of ladders,
Yeah. Spiders.
spiders, and
Yeah.
ladders, and then my bad. And,
Yeah.
wrestling with Ziggler, and people not knowing who's who.
It was great. It was a great, great moment on Raw, and that was really, really funny because you were like, "Why is R-Truth coming out?"
You're like, oh, he's the 8th guy.
yeah. And Kane's like, "No, you're not in the match. You're not in the match." My bad, Kane. My bad. This is on me. This is on me. But that was extremely, extremely funny. All right, we're gonna go to our interview with Lilian Garcia, WWE announcer. And also a singer, performing singer. She'll be here in Cleveland Thursday, June 18th at the Hard Rock Casino for the Lopin charity event benefiting Akron Children's Hospital. She'll be here all weekend as well. So go online and check it out, and you can buy the tickets there. It's a very intimate event with Lilian Garcia. She talks about it during the interview. So sit back and enjoy our interview with Lilian Garcia right here on the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Welcome back. This is Awesome Wrestling Show right here on CLEsound.com. And right now, we want to welcome a very special guest to the show, Steve. A woman that you might know from the Attitude Era all the way up till now. One of the few voices of the WWE that when you hear it, you recognize it from my childhood. Don't want to make her feel too old, but with Jerry Lawler, with JR, with Michael Cole. Lilian Garcia joining us, and she's also a singer. She's going to be performing here in Cleveland at the Hard Rock Casino on Thursday, June 18th. Event starts around 8 p.m. for a Lopin charity event benefiting Akron Children's Hospital. And Lilian, you're coming here to Cleveland at the right time because it's not snowing and the weather's starting to heat up a little bit. So kudos to you for picking the right time to come.
That's right. How you guys doing?
Doing well. All right, first question right off the bat is, you started out in 1999. Geez, 16 years ago. You took a little break in between for a couple years, but you are the only decade diva in the WWE. How, where, I don't know where to start because it's 16 years ago you debuted, and here you are now. If you can sum up your career in one word, what would it be?
Wow. Like, seriously. I mean, it's like, what a ride. It's been incredible, and that's why when I left, I had to come back. I was like, wow, I missed this so bad. It's amazing. It's an amazing place to work. It's just from the people that I work with to the fans. It's incredible.
I think for me, one of the moments that really thrust you kind of into the WWE spotlight, just cemented you in WWE history, wasn't long after that. And it's a moment that, as a fan and just as a person in general, I will forever remember. And that's when you came out on SmackDown right after September 11th and sang the national anthem.
Yeah, it's wild. It feels like it was just yesterday that happened, just because whenever I think of that moment, when anybody brings it up, tears like well up in my eyes immediately. It just brings all those emotions back to what was going on during that time in our country. And I'll never forget Vince coming up to me and saying, look, I'm going to go out and make a speech, and then I want to have you sing the national anthem, and we're all going to line up, and be right there with you. And I was like, wow, can I even keep it together? And I'll never forget, too, Paul Heyman came up to me and he said, look, if you lose it at the end, you lose it at the end. Don't worry about it. Just go out and do your thing. And I was like, yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep it straight. And he said, whatever happens, just go with it. And I'll never forget, you could hear my voice crack a little bit when I hold that note. It's just, I was so emotional. And then at the end, sure enough, I lost it, and the tears, were flooding down. But it was just an incredible moment that Vince actually gave us all, because he was the one that made that decision to go forward with the show, because everybody else canceled, but we didn't. And I feel like it was the right decision.
Is there, I was reading online, researching one, is there a story that you had people that you knew that's supposed to be in the Twin Towers at that time?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I sure did. And he called me. One of them was supposed to be in a meeting, and he was the one that called me to tell me, hey, I'm okay. And I'm like, he woke me up because I'm in Houston, and the time change was 7-something in the morning. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're okay? And he's like, turn on the TV. And I turned it on and saw what was going on, and every emotion in my body went. It was an incredible feeling. It was horrible.
It's just, to this day, when I watch that back, it's still, even for me, I think that's an emotional moment. When you look, obviously the national anthem is a huge deal in this country, and we do it before sporting events and gatherings, and that being the first large public gathering right after it, I mean, it's okay. No, I don't think anybody cares that your voice cracked because we were all feeling that same emotion,
Right.
and it came across so well. And it's like, for me, I sit there in Whitney Houston at the Super Bowl during the Gulf War. It was the Super Bowl, and that's such a
Right.
huge, grand stage. But the moment and timing of yours is one of those that I mean, it lives up to that, and is just, it's up there. If nobody outside of wrestling has ever watched it, to me, that's one of those things where if you really, truly appreciate how much everybody loves this country, that's something they need to watch and hear, I think.
Well, like I said, for me it meant a lot, and especially because my dad is a retired lieutenant colonel. I was born on a military base. I'm an Army brat. The military means a lot to me. I mean, I grew up with military all around me, doing the drills and everything. I mean, I lived on bases, and so seeing soldiers is kind of like seeing family. Anytime I'm around any kind of soldiers, I'm like, oh, it just feels right. You know, my dad was in the Army for over 20 years. So I have a lot of respect for our men and women in the military. And I'll tell you, the second moment for me, outside of, that was the first moment of doing it after 9/11. But then you fast forward, and I was in the middle in Iraq with the soldiers all around saluting as I was singing. And I was like, wow, like it doesn't get any bigger than this, with tears going down their faces. And then they came to me afterwards and said, thank you so much for singing it and singing it the way you did, because we never hear it out here. And at first I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't hear it out here? I'm going, wait, why would you hear it out here? You're in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
You know? So it's one of those things. And then I'll never forget, like when we landed and we came home, I literally kissed the ground right after we got off the plane, because I couldn't believe the way they were fighting and the way they were living and their conditions, and they're wanting to be home so badly. And, you know, here we were, we just over there for like 5 days and visiting them. But, you know, coming home, it just puts everything into perspective. I mean, we really do live in an amazing country, and the things that we have, I will never take anything for granted ever again. And I wish that everybody could have that moment of getting things into perspective of what really matters, because it is an incredible thing, and you get to actually enjoy. To me personally, I enjoy life even more now because of those moments, because I cherish everything, and I'm not always like, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more. No, I actually feel really grateful for what I have.
All right, Lilian, let's move on to a little lighter side of
Yeah.
of you in the business.
I know, right?
I have to ask, we ask everybody who comes on the show, and we've had a whole guest list of WWE superstars, and we always ask, you know, what was your first interaction with Vince McMahon like? And usually people who, you're like the only person that I know of that didn't really have a background at all in wrestling and or any kind of wrestling background,
Right.
or wrestling or anything like that, even announcing in wrestling. But did you know just how big Vince McMahon was when you first met him, and you knew that he was this global giant in the wrestling industry, or did you just play it off like, oh, this is just a regular, you know, my new boss?
Well, no, I knew how big it was. Like I watched with as a kid with my dad.
Yeah.
So I mean, I knew about the WWE. I mean, my dad and I was screaming at TV, you know, as a kid. I'll never forget. He took me to the Township Auditorium in Columbia, South Carolina, and I got to see Andre the Giant, and I got to see Ric Flair, and I got to see those moments I will never forget. And then, of course, when I went to high school, college, I kind of lost track of WWE. So when I went to go audition, I was not sure what the heck I was auditioning for. Literally, I was like, okay, well, I'm not a wrestler, so what? And this was through an agent in New York. And then my agent was like, just go, you never know. And when I did the audition, I still didn't know if it was for ring announcer, not till the day that I showed up at the job on August 23rd of 1999. And I didn't get to really see Vince. I don't remember seeing him the very first. I don't remember at all seeing him the very first day. I didn't see him for a few weeks, actually. And it was really when I got to sing in the national anthem that he started to really take notice. And everyone was like, oh, you got to hear her sing this national anthem. And that was February 14th of 2000. that he came to me and he's like, I hear you singing a great national anthem, and I want you to sing it tonight. I can't do his voice, but anyway, so I went out and sang the national anthem, and then he was like, I want you to sing it at every single event, and so I did. So it's been great, and he's an amazing boss. He really is.
As far as ring announcing goes, Glenn and I were talking beforehand. I was like, you know what I really want to know is those moments towards the end of the match where it gets crazy and everything gets thrown off and there's some sort of finish, the bell rings, and as fans we sit there and like, well, what did we just miss? Why is the bell ringing? And then the referee has to go over to you and give an explanation. Do you know already kind of what's going to happen there, what that is? Because you do a great job if you know of looking confused and like, hey man, what's the deal here? Like the rest of us, or I mean, are you finding out in the moment to keep it all kind of genuine?
What I love about this job is that it keeps you on your toes.
Uh-huh.
There are some moments that I mean, I have no clue. Like no clue what's going on. I'm like, what? But I love that. And I always tell them, please don't tell me anything. Don't tell me, because we all know everything's pretty much predetermined and all. And I always ask, please don't tell me. Yeah. I want to know. I want to watch just like everyone else is watching. I want to be anticipating, is this guy going to go over? Is this guy? Oh my gosh. That's the way I like to watch it as a fan, just like I grew up as a kid.
That's awesome.
If I was in your position, Lee, I would want the same thing. I want that genuine reaction to what's happening in front of me, and it comes off as great because it's genuine. You are surprised, and it comes over the TV very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do they at least give you the heads up that somebody might be getting thrown over into the announcer pit by you?
Yeah, I mean, I get a little bit of heads up just so I'm, prepared as far as, hey, you're about to make an announcement kind of deal,
Or like, what about like when a guy gets thrown through the barrier that you're sitting behind? They at least forewarn you that that's going to happen, right? No?
Did you not notice that one time I literally got pinned in that corner? I almost got turned into a pancake. Yeah, and now let me tell you, with my whole knee situation, because I'm not 100% yet. I'm just
right.
I'm good enough to have come back. It's so funny because there are some people that have been guessing, am I wearing the boots because I have a knee brace underneath? The answer is yes. Oh. I've been wearing those boots for three shows in a row or something so far, just because I've got it worked the very first night, and I was like, oh, I have to keep doing this. So hopefully we'll see if I can handle not wearing boots coming up, but it does help for support for sure. But I'm like, God, every time somebody's coming in my corner, I'm like, please don't have me try to run away because I can't run right now. It's not happening.
Have you, in your over a decade time in WWE, have you ever been approached to step foot in the ring? I know you've been involved with some storylines to where you got hurt and involved with different superstars, and one that sticks out in my mind is the late Viscera, Big Daddy.
Yes.
Him. But has there been a time where they approached you and said, "Hey, would you mind stepping in the ring and actually being part of a match?"
Well, I mean, I had one match. I'm 1-0. Come on.
Oh, okay. Well, I apologize.
I am 1-0 against Howard Finkel.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes, I am.
Oh, yeah, the Fink.
Yes.
I'm undefeated, and that's the way I intend to keep it. No, I have to tell you. I mean, before there was talk a little bit about should I learn to wrestle and do a couple matches or something, but I actually feel like to call myself a wrestler, I need to be like at NXT, for example, and at the time they didn't have NXT, but I need to be training 24/7.
Right.
Like to learn a couple of moves and call myself a wrestler or get in there, I feel like it's completely unfair to everybody who does put all those hours and all that time into it. And for me, my passion in this business is announcing and is performing and singing. So I feel like that's my role here, and I'll leave it to the professionals in wrestling to do that. I don't mind doing the storyline, every now and then, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, that kind of stuff. But the rest of it, it's really an art. It's a talent, and it's something very special that needs to be kept that way.
And speaking of women and wrestling, you have been there for, as we talked about, 16 years, and you have seen so many, I guess, generations or genres, so many transformations within the women's and divas divisions. And you've always been kind of right there at the front line for WWE about female empowerment. I mean, speak a little bit about what you're seeing now and what we're seeing now as fans of the female division, whether it's the main roster or NXT, compared to where it was when you started and anywhere in between.
Well, I mean, it's definitely evolved, but at the same time, I look at where we're at now. There's some amazing matches that are happening, but then there was also some amazing matches that happened when Trish and Lita were there, and there's, even when, I worked with Chyna and Luna, and there was amazing matches that happened. So I feel like that the women's division has always had very, strong, powerful women that know how to give everything they've got for this business. And let me tell you, in the locker room, I'm with them. I mean, they care. They want to put the best matches out there and entertain the crowd so much. It's incredible. So I just have a lot of respect for them going out and they're doing this 300 plus dates a year of, what they do to their tiny bodies. One thing is the guys having these big muscles to kind of pad that, but the women don't really have that.
Yeah.
And then they're throwing themselves, every which way and trying to keep up and trying to do some of the stuff that the guys do, and it's incredible.
Do you think it's that there's just more of the women that are of that caliber now? Maybe and that's why even more people are taking notice to it?
I think that I feel like NXT definitely has helped.
Yeah.
Because it's given them a platform to really get developed and learn in anything. I mean, in any craft. For me, singing, I still work with my coach. After all these years, I think it's important to do that, and I think that really has helped. I think that they're getting a lot of TV time, which is great, longer matches, which is awesome. Even in NXT, just now when I just saw Sasha and
Becky Lynch?
Yes, when I saw them having their match, it was incredible, and the length of time that they were given was incredible. And then Paige and Nikki, and they've been given 2 segs, and it really gives them a chance to evolve and tell a story and to show us what they can do.
And talking about NXT and women having to be trained, there are 2 other female announcers that we've all been getting to know, in Eden and JoJo. Do you have a hand in helping them out with their development?
Yes, I have been helping them, and I was asked if it was possible if I could help them, because I've been doing this for so long, and it's hard it's like Michael Cole told me. He goes, I can help commentators, but I don't really know how to help a ring announcer because that's not what I've been doing. And he says, do you mind helping them out? And I'm like, absolutely. No, that's fine. So what I'm trying to do is try to also help them to find their own style, their own voice. It takes time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It took me a long time and a lot of mess ups and a lot of, and I still learn every day. So it's just one of those things. It's not an easy job. It's maybe it comes off looking, but I think they're doing a great job. I'm very, very proud of them. JoJo,
here in Cleveland for NXT 2 months ago, was here, and she sang the national anthem before, and she knocked it out of the ballpark. I'm really excited to see her, get a full time. But with you, Lilian, is this sort of a way of passing the torch, or are you not even looking towards ending this current WB run, or are you happy with what you're doing and you don't have a date to where I'm going to do this until blah 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 and leave? Are you here to stay at least for the long haul here?
Yeah, there is nothing in me that wants to leave in any way. I absolutely love this business. I absolutely love what I do. And it's moments especially even getting hurt, and it was so hard for me to sit home, like while I was sitting home, I was tweeting live with the show. It was so hard for me to do that and to watch someone else doing my job. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this business so much. So I have, for me, my contract is till I'm signed to 2017. So I'm really happy to have that contract, and I'm really excited to continue working there. And it's one of these. There's a lot of live events too, though. It gives us an opportunity to all take turns in the live events and not have just two people doing the whole thing.
Now,
so it's good to have depth in the announcers for sure.
Now, if you ever wanted to leave again, you at least have something to keep you busy, because you are performing, you are singing, and like we mentioned before, you're going to be here in Cleveland, Hard Rock Casino, Thursday, June 18th, for the Lopin charity event here in Cleveland. I got to ask you, is there a big difference between maybe singing, not even live, because obviously you're the spotlight, you're out there for amount of time, but maybe the difference between preparing, obviously you have a singing coach, performing coach,
mm-hmm.
then you have I'm sure you're doing prepared, writing notes, because you can't have any cue cards in the ring. Is there a difference? Is there a big gap between those two different jobs, or are they less similar than people think?
Well, they're very different. I mean, one is definitely, learning songs and all, and the other one's learning Townsend weights.
Yeah.
They both require memorization.
You could sing
sure.
the pounds and weights. That's okay.
There you go.
Right. But that's what I love. I'm living my dream of being able to do both things that I absolutely love, and that is, hosting, announcing, and then turning around and singing. And what I love about the show in Cleveland, it's going to be a very intimate, it's an acoustic set that I have. I've got my guitar player that's flying in along with my violinist. And when you think violin, don't think it's going to be, it's still pop rock, which is cool, and he's awesome. So, but it's going to be an intimate show, which I love, because you really get to be one-on-one with the fans and really bring them into what you're doing. And it's also kind of bare bones. I mean, you don't get to hide behind anything, so it's one of those that you're very much exposed. So you definitely have to get even more ready in a way. But it's such a passion for me that, and I'm such a type A personality that I love the challenge of that for sure.
How did the musical career come about, and then is there something within there that you still want to accomplish that you feel like you haven't quite yet on that field?
Well, I started singing when I was 5 years old, so I've been on stage for a very long time.
Sure.
And I got in my first band when I was 14 years old, and my mom was actually chaperoning me. So instead of going out on dates or going to the prom and all those things, I was actually out performing with the band every single weekend. And if I had to do it all over again, that's exactly the way I would do it. I mean, I love it.
You would still pass up on prom?
I would still pass up on prom. I went to one. I think it was my senior year that I finally did go.
You go to one, you go to them all, Lilian, don't worry.
Yeah. But I never really had like a boyfriend or anything like in school and stuff. I mean, I had a long distance relationship at one time, but I didn't really have like a full time. It's because I was every weekend, instead of going out, I was in the band. But for me, that was just something that like I said, I love doing. So I love the fact that the WWE allows me to continue that side of me. And it's my creative side, writing, and then turning around recording, and then performing the song. Music goes hand in hand with WWE. I mean, we use music so much, and it was great that I was able to do the entrance theme song for Tori Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Need a little time, and hopefully maybe I'll get to do another one for another artist, another superstar or diva coming up. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I just want to perform more out. That's the thing that I miss more. I did a residency in Vegas, which went great. It was 6 weeks. So, and I just want to do more of performing out. I feel like that's the thing that's next is I've got my schedule for WWE, and then on my off days, I want to be able to sing out. And I mean, I'm even at the point where I'm like, I don't care. I'll go sing in a street corner. Like, I just want to perform. And I'm actually fascinated by the world of busking. And that's what street musicians are called. They're buskers.
All right.
And it's something I've never done. And now that I live here in California, there's a lot of it in Santa Monica and in Venice. And I'm actually thinking of going to get my busking license, because you have to have a license.
Who knew?
Yeah.
And actually set up, I'm not kidding, set up, why not? Set up out there with my guitar player, with my violinist, start performing, and let's just see what happens. I think it's kind of fun, like a challenge something I've never done,
Yeah.
and why not?
That's one of the most, I think, original things or creative things I think we've ever been told on the show that somebody wants to do. Yeah, I love all this other stuff I do, but you know what? I want to go stand on a street corner. Usually
Why not?
when we talk to people in the wrestling business, they're like, I want to ascend these heights. And you're like, I want to just go on the street corner.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, it's not that it's not that I've got to reach certain this, certain that. If it comes, great. But bottom line is, I love to perform. It's a passion of mine. So if it's a passion of mine, I'd be willing to do it anywhere, at any place.
That's awesome.
And for me, that means that, yes, I look at some of those musicians when I walk out 3rd Street Promenade, they look like they're having a blast.
Yeah.
And I'm having a blast watching them. So I'm like, well, why not just set up and do it, and let's have a blast. Let's have people, singing and dancing around me or whatever. That would be fun.
Who is the best musician, maybe that people kind of had an idea of, or maybe that they didn't know, in terms of the wrestlers and guys that you've worked with or ladies that you've worked with there in WWE?
Wow. Let me think. That's a tough one.
We know The Rock.
Well, I guess
Rock
I was
is
going to say
Yeah.
The Rock. It has,
And we know
then-
Jericho
and
has Fozzy, yeah.
And Jericho, yeah.
Is there
Fozzy,
somebody
yeah.
who maybe like secretly we haven't even heard about yet that likes to sing there, or it's pretty much those two guys? They rock the music.
Yeah, I think the other ones, like you said, secretly, like they've kept it so secret that I had no clue. Seriously. There's nobody that's been singing backstage. I'll say that.
I was hoping you would say like Mark Henry is, an avid singer or something backstage.
Yeah, we have Kane Kane just hanging out in the
Just
corner.
acapella,
Yeah.
Kane's been rapping back there. Could you imagine?
All right, here's a question for you, Lilian. Now, this is obviously live TV, live performing. There's going to be miscues and mistakes. Is the Lilian Garcia more likely to forget a lyric of a song, or maybe forget what to say at the end of a match?
Both.
Because it happens. I mean, it's live TV.
It happens. It's live TV, and when you perform, it's also live.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you talk to any performer out there, and they'll tell you that that's happened.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget, like, the guy that did the King and I Broadway show. He'd done it so many times. I'm talking like years and years of doing the same exact Broadway show over and over and over. And one show, the one that I actually went to, he's in the middle of it, and all of a sudden he just stops. And he goes, I have sang this for years and years and years, and I'm telling you, I can't even remember my next line. And everyone started, clapping and laughing and then singing the line for him. And then it's like, oh, that's right. Thanks for putting me back on track. It just happens, and you just got to go with it. Nothing in life is perfect. Nothing.
If they ever do a Lilian Garcia DVD or any sort of Lilian special, would you want them to have a blooper reel of flubbed things at the end of a match or beginning of a match, and those few times that we've all seen you coming down the ramp?
I'd say go for it all. I think anytime I'm telling you, I laugh at it. Why not let other people laugh at it? I think it's hysterical. As long as nobody gets hurt,
right?
When you know that the person's okay, then
That's
laugh
great.
it away. I mean, I was the first one. What was it in London when I felt? Well, it was like 2 weeks apart. my heel broke.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, I'm in London, and what happened was, I don't know if anybody ever really found out what happened, but when we were in London, we got a different local crew, and they were not aware that I was going to come out after JBL. So they put the pyro cannon right in the front, and then my music hits to come out. They said that their eyes just lit up like, oh, my God, I hope she doesn't trip over the pyro cannon. And sure enough, I did trip over the pyro cannon because I was looking up and waving, and little did I know that there was going to be pyro cannons right in my way. So I tripped. But what can I say? I mean, it's one of those things I said, hey, London Bridge isn't falling down. I am.
But you recovered so well.
Great recovery.
I mean, what can you do? When those things happen, like in my own nature, and maybe it is the years of performing that I've had on stage. I mean, I've literally been on stage and just been giving it my all, and I'll never forget I was singing the song, and I started kicking, and my shoe flew off, and it went right in the middle of and it hit somebody in the head, and I was like, oh, She was okay. She started laughing, then I started laughing, then forget it. I mean, we all had a great time. But you got to roll with it. You just got to roll with it, and you got to laugh at yourself, because otherwise, man, you're going to have it's going to be, it's awkward.
But before we let you get out of here, I want to tell you my Lilian Garcia story.
Yes, please do.
Because we had an impromptu meeting a couple of years ago in New Orleans before WrestleMania, and I don't remember what the place was we were at, and I was there with a group of friends, and somebody was agitating the wrestlers at some point, and there was some confusion as to who it was, and you came out with a couple people, and we're making sure it wasn't us. And then when you found out, you were like the sweetest person in the world, and taking pictures with me and my buddies on this like balcony bar, wherever we were on Bourbon Street.
And, oh my God, I totally remember that.
And you're like, I'm going to tweet you guys. What are your Twitters? They were like, yeah, okay. And all my friends were just like, oh my God, she's the greatest. You know how many people like our phones were lighting up the rest of the weekend just because we had Lilian Garcia tweeting things for us.
Oh, yay! Thank you.
Oh,
I totally remember that.
That was a crazy night. It was wild, and we were like, "What's going on?" We're like, we don't know what happened, but at the end of the day, Lilian Garcia's sweetest ever. Loved it.
Thanks, guys.
What final question before I let you go? I mean, segueing off of that, what has been probably the oddest, maybe, interaction with a fan, maybe even at a a live event or even on the streets? I mean, you have to have a story that with a odd interaction with a fan.
Well, I will say that there was one guy that I was backstage, and his uncle was working back there, and he's like, hi, my nephew, he actually absolutely loves you, and he actually just got a tattoo of you on him, and he really wants to meet you. And I was like, okay, what did he get tattooed? And he's like, well, if you'll meet him, I want him to show you, and I'm telling you, he's not weird. I promise you, he's not weird. Oh, okay. So we got to meet, and he shows me the tattoo, and it's my face, and it's like a exact replica with wings on it that he got.
Oh boy!
And I got wow, and it was huge, and I'm like, I didn't know how to take that. I'm like going, wow, I've touched you that much where you actually got me tattooed on you. And the whole time I was like, God, please don't ever let me piss you off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that for me was like, that is truly special. I mean, to have somebody do that, I'm like, wow. I mean, this guy's got to live, with that every single day. So that was crazy, but at the same time, so flattered, So, I mean, and he turned out to be such a nice guy. So we took photos together and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that, and sometimes here and there he'll tweet me and I'll tweet him back, or, so things are, actually, I haven't heard from him in a little while, so I'm hoping he's okay. But I would say that was the most like, wow.
Hopefully one day doesn't wake up and go, geez, why did I do this?
Yeah.
I know. I said, I hope I never make him mad.
I was thinking, hopefully, conversely, there's somebody instead of wings that doesn't have like Lilian with like the devil horns or something. They just really don't like you.
Don't give him ideas.
maybe the Fink. Maybe the Fink has
the Fink has that tattoo.
Lilian, we appreciate you giving us the time. We look forward to seeing you here in Cleveland on Thursday, June 18th at the Hard Rock Casino, a 8 p.m. show. Not only is it because you're performing, but you're doing it for a great, great cause. And like you said, you are one of the few voices, from the Attitude Era, from the 90s that we recognize when we hear that, oh, that's Lilian Garcia, along with like JR and The King and Michael Cole. It's really an honor to talk to you, and we look to hang out with you here in Cleveland.
Thank you so much, and I hope you guys are going to come to the show.
We will. We will be there.
Yes? Okay, awesome.
I will be there, hopefully by the time you get on. Not going to lie, I get to marry people, and I have a wedding rehearsal that evening.
Oh, you do? What time?
I don't know yet. They haven't told me, so this is going great.
Tell them. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Tell them to speed it up.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be around 6.
I mean, I'm in charge, right? So because I'm the one presiding over it, I'll just be like, guys, this needs to happen. Yeah.
Come on.
Thanks, Lilian, so much.
Thank you so much, guys. I look forward to seeing you, and hello to everybody there in Cleveland and everybody who's listening to the podcast. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for all the support through all the years. I will say that.
Great interview with Lilian Garcia right here. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. And you can listen on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Libsyn if you want to go back and listen to the interview with Lilian Garcia. She'll be here in Cleveland June 18th. Which is a Thursday. Hard Rock Casino. She's going to be performing live here in Cleveland, so you don't want to miss that. And like always, all our interviews on the show are sponsored by...
Oh, they're brought to us by Weber Grill. Join the Weber Nation community where you can share stories, recipes, photos, and participate in blogs. Go to Weber.com, the heart of Weber and the hub of Weber love. That's WEBER.com. Clint, is that... I know the Cavs game is going to be starting soon.
Yeah.
Are those sirens? Is like LeBron getting a police escort to the game? Is that what it is? No. I don't think that's... I know what that is.
You know what that
Those
is.
sirens must mean that it's time to call Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
Now, we're not going to leave a voicemail like our comedy friend Mike Polk did
It was great.
last week.
We can't top that voicemail.
We can't. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to call him. If he answers, we'll talk. And if he doesn't, we will call him next week. So here we go, calling Scott Steiner.
We might leave him a voicemail one day.
Maybe one day.
But right now, we need to leave this one to Scott. Or to Mike, I should say. If Scott Steiner answers tonight, I'm going to ask him who he has in Game 3 of the Cavs.
He just got speared by Goldberg.
He got speared by Goldberg.
Yeah, over the weekend.
Where?
At City Field at some Legends of Wrestling.
That's exciting. In New York.
So no Scott Steiner this week. But yeah, he was speared by Goldberg, who made his in-ring return. He didn't wrestle. He just came in and speared Scott Steiner. And he did a jackhammer on Luke Gallows.
Oh.
At City Field.
All right.
In front of like 12,000 people. It was a huge event. Bret Hart was there. But yeah, no Scott Steiner this week.
All right.
He did not call us back either.
Speaking of legends and guys from the past a little bit, one thing that we've heard about rumor back and forth since the Royal Rumble, when we saw a surprise appearance, is the return of the Dudley Boys. And now you've got Harper and Rowan doing 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the rumor has it that the Dudley Boys may come in, make a run because of this.
Well, Billy.
Yeah.
Bubba Ray.
Bubba
said on Twitter he was very upset. Now, is that legit, or is that just going with the storyline? We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But that would be amazing.
Because what did they say? They said something. I don't remember what it was. Luke Harper said something towards the end there, and I don't remember what it was. And I thought maybe he's trying to call out the Dudley Boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is setting something up, because why would they blatantly steal a move from one of the best tag teams ever? And, Bubba Ray was just on WB programming for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And a month later he was on TNA, but that was a one-time thing. But I would love to see a SummerSlam match and maybe one last run, because we know Bubba Ray still has it. Devon's an excellent. We saw him.
Well,
Saw
Yeah.
him at WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's in great shape.
WrestleCon.
Testify. Stop it, Glenn. Marking out for Devon. But the timing is right, too, because you still have the Usos out because one of them's out of action with the shoulder
He was
surgery.
so crazy.
And then now, word coming down, we don't know what's going to happen with Tyson Kidd. He did suffer an injury at a live event show last week.
Thanks, Samoa Joe.
Thanks to Samoa Joe. And we don't know how long that's going to be. Early reports are that it might be like some sort of spinal cord injury, which is not something you mess around with.
No.
So now you've lost 2 tag teams there here in the last few months. 2 tag teams that were at the top of that division. So yeah, I mean, what a great time it would be to bring the Dudley Boys in and not lose a beat in the tag team division and give them another run.
Yeah, that would be that would be a match I would pay to see because I love the Dudley Boys, and them against a power tag team
Right.
with Harper and Rowan. That would be a great match to watch. So that's one storyline you gotta see, and maybe we'll see a run-in with the Dudley Boys coming back here
Maybe.
soon. Other things from takeaways from Raw, really nothing else. New Day, still amazing, getting over. And Kofi Kingston is supposed to face Brock Lesnar, I think July 4th weekend.
Uh-huh.
And that has me wondering, is Kofi a realistic option to win the Money in the Bank?
You know, I thought about this too. Never would I have ever thought that until the announcers kept talking about it and the New Day. What better way to continue to get heat on the New Day than to have them, it's just like you did with the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had them the tag team titles and Dean Ambrose, the U.S. at the time, and people hated them for it.
Yeah.
What better way than to have Kofi holding on to that Money in the Bank, plus the New Day being tag team champions? That's a great heel stable right there.
I thought that before the match with Roman Reigns, and then Reigns won cleanly.
Yeah, but they let Kofi get off on all sorts
it was
of
a great
spots
match.
and everything. Yeah.
Great back and forth. But after I saw them, Kofi got beat clean. I don't see that happening, but that would be great to see.
I love the idea of the New Day, all of them owning the Money in the Bank.
Anybody,
briefcase, by the way.
any one of them can can cash it in. That would be great. And then as a tag team, they're so getting over. And ever since they took that photo with me at WrestleMania,
You're in.
they've been over.
You are the
Ever since
you are the connection to all.
we
Everybody's
played that
successor.
song like 20 million times during WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah,
They've been over, man.
yeah.
All they needed was a "This is awesome" push.
It could be. It would be interesting to see if they went that route and how they would do that. I guess no better time for Kofi to do that.
And he definitely deserves a push.
Now that there's no confusion about what country he's originating from,
and
he's just simply in the New Day, I think we're good here.
Yeah.
We're all on board.
I was never a fan of Xavier Woods either, and now I'm a big Xavier Woods fan. Not only after the E60 thing, but just as a performer on the mic because.
And even when he's not on the mic necessarily, but you just hear him talking outside the ring.
Oh yeah,
he's great.
He's a mouthpiece of the New Day, and they need that because Big E is. He's not.
He's the heavy.
Yeah, he's the minister of mass.
Yeah.
And you have Kofi, who isn't a song on the mic either. So having Xavier as the mouthpiece is great. Any other final thoughts of Raw or anything? You excited for Money in the Bank? NXT here in Cleveland this week. We'll have some interviews.
Huge week for WWE in Ohio. Yeah.
We have a lot of. We have a lot of interviews.
Glenn just bashed himself in the face with the mic, folks.
We have a lot of interviews coming up. And we'll be in attendance on Friday here in Cleveland. And you have a ton of wrestling here in Ohio and Columbus and from Cleveland. Money in the Bank in Columbus. NXT in Columbus over the weekend. And then you have Raw here on Monday as well with MGK hosting Raw as well.
Cleveland. It's all about Cleveland right now. Obviously we got the Cavs tonight. I'm going to try to get out of here, watch my buddy Bri Pride.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
And, so everything coming up Cleveland right now. This is great.
So make sure to head over to CLEsound.com for everything Cleveland with our podcast on the network. Go back on iTunes and Libsyn and Stitcher if you want to listen to past shows. Last week was Crazy Mary Dobson, and Mike Polk was also. We have interviews with Seth Rollins, EC3, Johnny Gargano, Samoa Joe was a recent interview, Too Cold Scorpio. You have a whole list of guests, and thanks to Lilian Garcia for coming on the show as well this week. We'll have an interview with Taylor Hendricks, Little Guido, Dangerous Doug Gilbert, and Nick Gage, and also our interviews from this weekend from NXT coming up on the show. So make sure to go to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a rating. It really helps with our ranking. We want to get in the top charts for sports podcasts. We really want to get into that. So we appreciate you guys heading over there and helping rate us and subscribing, and also leaving us a comment. That really, really helps with our ranking. So, Steve, we'll leave it at that, and then we'll see you next week, buddy. We'll see you this weekend for all the wrestling here in
That's
Ohio.
Right. We'll see. Maybe we'll see some of you.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Say hi.
Especially Steve's.
She won't be there. AIW only.
We'll see you guys next week. This is Awesome Wrestling Show. SteelySound.com.